So this is a video on Hooked on Math, of course. A request. It's a video request. I know I have talked about having Hooked on Phonics and Hooked on Math, and I've already done the review and a collab on Hooked on Phonics, the original, and why I still use the original one over the other version that they have out, or versions that they have out today. And I was about to leave a part of this out, so let me show you. Like I said, I have the original version. I also have a newer version. And all in all, I still prefer this one. And it wasn't until recently that I set this out. I think in a video I had done a couple weeks ago, a month ago, I did mention that we weren't really using it. I set it out. The kids are using it in centers now, but still not my preference. And yeah, I will explain that in a minute. So what you will find in this kit is so you need a cassette player, which is easy to come by, Goodwill, eBay, all that type of thing. And let's see, I do have all the cassettes. One of them is out because it's being used, as well as the book. Let's see. Here's book 1, and there's book 1 through 6, I believe, in here. And I will go over each one of them. I'm sorry if this is sideways, but there we go. And then underneath you're going to find the cards. And I will show you the ones that we have out that are not in here. Okay. So basically, I think this is the first set. Yeah. So on one side you're going to get the fact, and the other side will be the answer. That is how that goes, and it's all of the facts. See, here's the other one. And it's basically going to teach them with the cassette. The lesson is they are reciting the math fact and the answer, and it is a memorization trick, nothing more than a memorization trick. So it gives you all the instructions. You listen to the yellow tape, and then you move on to the blue tape, which is addition. And here's your table of contents. It guides you addition. It tells you the tape, side 1 or side 2. And then subtraction, you move on to the red tape. Side 1, side 2. And then it guides you to the cards. And there's a marker in here. You don't have to use the marker. And also there is, let me see, pulled it up and put it under the book. Oh, here it is right here. This is what they use, their little whiteboard. It's a clear board, but to do their drills. And this is basically what it is. It's drills, memorization drills. And bless you, as you can see, it's not a lot of color. black and white, other than the colors of the books. That helps you identify, but no fancy, you know, what have you. On the next page are the answers. Tells you don't move on until you know that page. If you have to stop, rewind it, and that's what she'll tell them in the tape. Once they get through a drill, they will stop the tape and recite the facts on their own from memory. And then it moves on to subtraction. And they always check the answers. And this goes on to, this is 1 through 10, and basically there we go. There's 60 pages. There's a review at the end of the sections. And then it says if you can do all of the subtraction on the red cards, open book 4 to page 46. So here would be book 4. Let me show you what each one looks like. But page 46. So this explains how to work out the problems. Okay. Place value, 1s, 10s, and all of that jazz. Your whole numbers. Addition of whole numbers.
Close.
So, in order to use this book, they need to have used the blue tape and the blue cards inside and out before they move on to this. And so things become progressively harder, but the answers are in here. And it also, this is like the solution manual, sort of, for everything, because it has the division and the multiplication in here as well. I said 6 books. I'm thinking there's 6 tape lessons, but only 4 books in this set. The green tape covers multiplication, and it's pretty much the same as the addition. The whole curriculum is designed the same way. So it's a drill based. This one is division. And again, it'll tell you which cards to use. Excuse me, Layla. So, that being said, like I said, it's not a lot of color, and it's comprehensive enough for a child that is just doing drills, and something that I am looking at. I should have pulled it off the shelf here before I started. Back up, Layla, please. But watch out. What I'm noticing in Saxon is drill based. And I had already mentioned that I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to use this. I have looked at this compared to the math that they are using. This is kind of mediocre. I'm going to use this on my 4-year-old because yeah, even the kindergarten level, I think this is math 1, Saxon K, she can already do that. So this is the little remedial for them, for me to be using what I'm already using. They use Houghton Mifflin, and I've showed these before. And there's a lot of color, but complete difference. Okay. The difference between that program and this one, first of all, when you're buying the newer versions, let me back up. There is this version of Hooked on Phonics. I think it's up to $19.99. Or not Hooked on Phonics. Hooked on Math. And it is a, I want to say a CD version. I saw a CD version. Let me make sure I'm getting that right in my head before I tell you guys. I did. It comes differently. The way it's packaged. It's packaged kind of like this. It's a bigger box. But all of the components are in separate boxes. And it's CDs. And I think when they I want to say 99, 2000, something like that, is when they switched it to color and CD version. And pretty much it's the same thing, but what they did was they broke up the kits, just like they did Hooked on Phonics. So now you have to, in order to use this curriculum, you have to purchase all these kits, which is, to me, ridiculous. And they're incomplete because of the material. It was better this way. Excuse me. Just like Hooked on Phonics. The comprehension part, there's spelling, there's language arts in the original Hooked on Phonics. In the new one, there's none of that. So, grammar as well. They add these little fancy cards. You see me using your stuff. Number cards. They made it gamey. Like I said, I picked this up at the Goodwill for $1. The only thing it didn't have was the CDs, but I've seen how they worked with the games on them, and that's all it is. They made it into games. And, you know, I don't really like mine on the computer that much, so it's not a big loss. And this is not enough to make me go buy another one.
Can we go play outside?
In a few minutes. You know, a whole, you know, one of the newer kits. I'm not going to spend any money on that. If I found it for $1 again, yeah. But I just picked this one up because I was curious to see what was in it. And I said it wasn't even used. It just didn't have the CDs with it. These are little stickers. Yeah, I'll give your stuff back in a minute. What is this? This is a bingo game. Let's see, they haven't opened this yet. But there's 2 sets of cards. Shh. One has aliens and one has, okay, one has spaceships. And let me show you this book. The one thing that this is a chart, counting by twos. This is where you put the stickers, so when they master each thing, you give them a sticker on their little chart or poster. The one thing that I did find interesting in here is, in this workbook, the what they do is the number practice, to stop and go, because I use this with numbers and with letters. And I know if you guys have been watching, you've heard me, you know, do a little stop and go chant when they're writing sometimes. So I do like that. You know, it gives them the start at the star, stop at the stop sign. And my 2-year-old is doing this. It's only the 2 and the 4-year-old, she's 4 now, that picked this up. And they go through it. But there's nothing more to this. There's no, I don't know, it's supposed to be all bells and whistles, but I'm not sold on this at all. Because you have to keep buying the kits, and I've seen them as much as $35. I've seen them as little as $14, but you're talking about a piece, whereas you can get this, I want to say I just saw one earlier on eBay for like $7. I saw a Hooked on Phonics, the original, and a Hooked on Math for, I want to say maybe $15. The shipping was a little high, but these are well worth it still, even, you know, even with the cassettes. So, I mean, it's a matter of preference, matter of a child. We don't need all of this color. They do get it in their math book, but it's too, I don't know, it's like I'm saying Saxon is. It's mediocre. I wouldn't, you know, to teach them just basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You could really do this with flashcards, you know, without the tapes. But some children, like I was telling this person, are auditory learners, and therefore using the kits with the cassettes really helps them. My kids always use them with the cassettes, the Hooked On Phonics. They all use with the cassettes because the lessons, the SRA portion, where they read the story and they and do the comprehension questions, it's nice for the storyteller, for them to hear the storyteller tell the story rather than them just read it. And I used that program myself when I was in school, and I would always listen to the tapes. So it's, you know, it's a matter of preference. You can find these things even if you find them in pieces. There all the time are, it says 1991, people selling individual parts, so if there are parts missing, but there are lots of complete kits available. So I said this has helped them learn, you know, basic facts in addition and things like that, in addition to what they were working on this past year in this math book that they have. This is Texas Math, and I use Texas Math because we have no Common Core in our curriculum. Not that I don't want it, but I'll explain that in another video, and you'll see their new curriculum when I get to that. But we were able to, I'm going to show you the addition parts. The reason why I said I'm not going to use that Saxon, they were able to work through addition facts in their math book, and I taught them part, whole, using cubes. And so for me to go and start with that Saxon 1 would be backwards, and this is a kindergarten book. Okay, I started, they have been using this for a while, but I started them here because I wanted them to get the basics and not just skip. And I gauged and used you know, units and lessons how I wanted them to, so they were tailored. But for me to go and start and use, you know, that one curriculum after I had used this to help jump into here, I'm not going to use the other program. Like I said, with the 4-year-old, that's going to work fine. This will work fine. But to me, it's the same thing. It's a visual, and there's a new newer program out. Everybody uses it. Math-U-See, pretty much based off the same concept as Hooked on Math. So they learn, and you can, you know, use whatever manipulatives and things that you need to incorporate into this, but it's pretty much fact drills. It's a memorization technique. So my thoughts would be to use the get the original one. If you run across one, get the original one. If you're planning on using it as like a base curriculum, rather than this right here. I think these are a little weak. It's just they had to keep up with everything that's come out thus far. So, you know, the name is what's selling it, basically, on these kits. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and if there's anything I did not clarify, just leave me a comment, and I will definitely answer that. And oh, I got a comment on the video, and I will answer that as soon as I can. So, good luck on your eBay search, and I will see you tomorrow.
So that your thumb covers the answer in the bottom right-hand corner. Are you ready? Let's go. The multiplicand is on top, the multiplier below. The answer is product. These facts you must know. The multiplicand is on top, the multiplier below. The answer is the product. These facts you must know. What's the answer in multiplication? The product. The green cards are numbered, as you can see, and they must be in order to multiply with me. Let's multiply together and learn them inside out. Knowing each card's product is what it's all about. Look at the top green card, 1A facing you. Multiply, then place it behind. That's all you have to do. Green cards 1A. 1, 2, 3, go. 1 times 0, 0. 1 times 1, 1. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 3, 3. 1 times 4, 4. 1 times 5, 5. 1 times 6, 6. 1 times 7, 7.
And so that is pretty much how they go through the drills with the instructor. They're moving the cards throughout the lesson. And that's how they learn how to kind of memorize what they're doing. Like I said, she talks them through every aspect of the lessons, and they're told to not move on until they get it. So spending some time, you know, listening is pretty much all they have to do. If they have that technique down, they will comprehend this. You spend 15-20 minutes a day doing whichever drill, and they should be able to catch on pretty quickly. So bye bye, thank you.